Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you ignoring my orders? I have complete magical control over you.
Do you want to know why they're ignoring your orders? The reason that they don't attack? It's because they're smarter than humans. The reason they ignored your orders
is because they don't want to die.
Thank you to our $5 patrons, Red Wolf 4765, Midnight Gemlord, and Sean. And a very big thank you to our $25 patron, Alex Ice Rose. Now, we're on this breakdown / review of chapter 96. I lied. It's 97 of Four Knights of the... No, please, I have a family. Please and family, leave your all those on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure to hit that little notification bell to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. You can support as low as $1 month, exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, let's hop into last week's poll. So, last week I ended up asking y'all Four Knights of the Apocalypse fans, when Dr. Hugo McDuff Strange coming out the clutch and putting Percival in a 90-degree angle. I must know, how do you want Percival to resurrect? Do you want him to come back as an endless beacon of hope and light, or come back as a monstrous envoy of darkness and despair? Pick a choice and let me know why down below. And I ain't gonna lie to you, we must be on the same kind of wavelength. 81% of us, we're sick and tired of this happy little guy. This jolly little fellow. This happy little dude. Sure, a little hope here and there is nice. You know, you gotta fight against despair. But sometimes, when the chips are down, you must truly give into the darkness. And that's why 81% of y'all chose despair over hope. You wanted Percival to resurrect in his despair state. And I agree with you guys. Notably, I do think that Percival and his hope powers are the main reason he can revive. I highly doubt that if he was just surrounded by despair, he could revive, just based on the way the two sides of his magic appear to work. Though, admittedly, when he restores life from his despair magic, the mini Percies pop out. So it's really a question on whether or not he even could resurrect with despair. We've only seen him resurrect with hope, so it's up in the air. I can definitely see why the 19% of y'all were going for hope, because, you know, it just makes sense. Even the image I use for the poll is from the chapter where he resurrects with hope magic from his external people. And obviously, like, even in the last chapter, he wasn't surrounded by that much despair. He still had his friends, you know, hoping and crying out to Percival, the knight of, you know, the hope. And with that, I can kind of understand it, but still, I want Despair Percy back. We got such a nice quick glimpse of him, which is now nearly 50 chapters away. Like, I think we're only like, because we're 3 chapters from 100, and Despair Percy popped up around the 50s. So we're almost 100 chapters away from Despair Percy. So I think we kind of do need him to spawn in again. We do need him to pop up real quick. And considering how this chapter goes, who knows? He may just pop up again. And if so, I'm excited to see it. However, thank you so much for participating in that poll. Make sure you get your input in on tomorrow's poll, dropping at 12 p.m. Make sure your input is included for next week's review. Now, let's hop into Chapter 97. What's up, guys? I'm Punter here, and here we are to do a review of Chapter 97 of Four Knights of the... which is known as... Requiem Ever Ringing. And I ain't gonna lie to you, this chapter was so indubitably heat for every single one of the Four Knights, even if one of them is in a form that I actively don't like. And I gotta respect it. Only Nagaba Suzuki could make me not like one of his many amazing designs, and also still have the chapter be indubitably and unbelievably heat. But let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into the review and chapter itself. So, we open up, and we do get to see that our disastrous duo of our destroyers of the world decided that, you know what, being in this town, it's aight, it's light, it's like that. But low-key, I just wasted my magic on absolute cancel. I am gonna figure out what is happening here. And we see that Gawain notes, coming up here, it's plain as day. Walnock is completely encased in a dome of jamming magic. So in the end, I still can't grasp anyone's position inside, even from the outside. Which is very impressive. Like, notably, we do get, like, a full active radius of it now. Before, it kind of was just, like, in the bubble. Like, weird to say, but it was like a bubble over the top of Walnut's walls. But no, Eo's magic is literally branching out over the entire area. Like, it's straight up like someone just took, how do I put this? Like, you ever seen a well with a cover on it? They pretty much did that, except instead of like a regular cover, they just put a big old beach ball over a hole. And bada bing, bada boom, the jamming magic. And it's to the point where even when you're outside it, you can't sense anything within it. I'm wondering if they can. I'm assuming they can see it. I doubt Gawain is just like sensing it. But it's very interesting that this massive dome is able to be held up by just one person, especially considering what we learn about Io later on in this chapter. It's impressive that her magic is this powerful. She could be very, very useful in spaces like this, though. I think in a general area, the fighters are good enough to use things other than their magical sensory abilities to keep up. However, still with that being the case, we do get to see that Gawain is like, you know what? You're right, but you only realized once you came out. So this wasn't exactly interesting. I wonder what that, this whole interaction is interesting, because Gawain points out the fact that Lance could only notice that he couldn't grasp anyone's position once he like went in, realized something was up, went out, and now is looking at it. So they couldn't see this bubble before, meaning it was cloaked or something like that, which is very interesting. I wonder if it requires like spatial awareness. Like, notably, you know how Zero Sign works for Bond, right? Like, he cannot activate the magic if you've seen him already. So I'm assuming Eo's in a very similar spot, where as long as you don't know what's happening, you won't even notice it. It's just so natural that it kind of coats the entire area and you can't tell. But the moment you do notice it, the illusion is broken. It's kind of like how I very specifically remember there's this one like cardboard cutout of a dinosaur, and like every single time I see the video, the illusion resets in my brain, where it like looks like it's a full 3D structure from one angle, but then once you take it to the other angle, you go there and you can see that it's not a full 3D structure. It's actually a flat, weird perspective trick. But then the moment the camera pans back, if you've seen it recently, your brain just can't process the illusion anymore. It kind of just switches it. It even happens in common life. Like, I will see things, like I'll look up at a cloud and see something, and I'll look down, look away, be like, oh, that was pretty neat. Look back up, and the cloud will be just a cloud. Like, I will not see anything anymore. And I'm not talking about Cloud Strife either, just a normal cloud. So this is interesting. That's a very good magic, especially considering its range, its potency, the fact that someone like Lancelot, as skilled and experienced as he is, he can't pick it up. And very, very cool. And Lance is in his form from, I was about to say Cursed by Light, in his form from Grudge of Edinburgh. And I do like that. You know, this is a form that I think it'll be his official fairy form. It's the closest to all the ones we've seen. It's the one that keeps the scar on it. He's allowed to fly in this form. Very, very interesting. I wonder why his is chunky, though. Like, neither of his parents are actually thick. He's not thick either. They're like all lean cut. So I'm shocked that he takes on this, like, I mean, maybe it's just to be unassuming. Like, notably, you'd probably be more afraid if someone like Dahlia pulled up on you in comparison to someone like Loxinia or King. But I guess you could be caught even more unawares if you just see this chunky guy with a bow on his back. So it makes sense. Interesting that he didn't take this form. Well, I know why. That's an interesting like case of cross manga continuity, or like cross media continuity, because remember, we've seen Lancelot take on a fairy form before in this same manga, not in the movie. That was way back when he was fighting the Chaos Commandments and he was getting information out of Melascula. But notably, he didn't take this form. But I think the reason Nakaba didn't have him take this form, despite me assuming this is going to be his default form for his fairy state, is because he already knew that he was trying to do a pseudo twist about who the fairy was in the movie. And thusly, he didn't do it in the manga, but now that the movie's out, he's willing to do it in the manga. Which is ironic, because I think the Lance reveal loses a lot less weight once you see it, the movie first, the Grudge of Edinburgh movie, and then you read Four Knights. It's not entirely, wasted, but I do think the Lancelot reveal would work. It works a lot better in the manga, essentially, in comparison to the anime. I think the anime, it does an alright job with it. Or the movie does an alright job with Lancelot's reveal. And it's a really cool reveal, too. Like, he tears through a demon and all that. But still, I think the manga does it a whole lot better. So, ironically enough, I do think you probably want to consume the manga before you watch the movie. Which is weird, because the movie is a prequel to the manga. So, it's really up in the air, whichever you want to see. You don't have to see it at all, really. I don't think other than addressing, now that I think about it, if you are a Four Knights reader exclusively, there's no reason to watch any of the movies. None at all. Because I was going to say, the only reason you may want to watch Grudge of Edinburgh is so you get the plot line about, what's his name? I always forget his name. Death Pierce wrapped up. Like, you get that plot line settled. But if you didn't read Seven Deadly Sins, you don't care about that plot line. Same thing with the Supreme Deity. That doesn't matter to you. That thing hasn't been mentioned at all in Four Knights as far as I can remember. Heck, you don't even necessarily really need an explanation for chaos. You kind of can just exist. Yeah, I understand why Nakaba says you don't need the original series. Or any of its content. But it's interesting to think about. However, with that being the case, we cut back into the town. And people are hopping, springing, moving, bobbing. But when I say people, I mean Tristan is being hopped, springing, moved, and bobbed. Like, Io is doing him like a ping pong ball. Just smacking, yaga. Like, golly, personally, I would never let this slide. But that is just me, though. Being completely honest with you, I would never let myself get treated like a paddle ball. But, you know, Tristan, he's a real cool kid. He's a real cool cat. So he's getting absolutely smacked up by Io. And we see that Io... She just like me for real. Because if I was mollywopping one of the supposed Four Knights of the Apocalypse, if I was mollywopping the son of the traitor Meliodas and the goddess Elizabeth, I would start talking that talk too. Especially if I'm a demon, like I'm pulling up on the child of the strongest one to ever exist and the strongest of our top ops. I gotta start talking smack. So when Io starts hitting Tristan with the, "Is this the end? Is this how it will be? Tristan, Knight of the Apocalypse, Knight of the Fodder-Rips, I bet you're even more fodder than Percival. I'm smacking you up like I used to get smacked by my..." Okay, let me stop. Let me stop that. However, we do get to see that with Tristan bouncing around. I need to hurry up and just find a way to play Sonic Rush Adventure. But with that being the case, we do get to see that Tristan, as he's getting bounced around, suddenly decides that, you know what? I'm done. No more. I'm sick and tired of this nonsense, this mess. You dumb bubblegum billing like a I swear. This is why we don't give you right. No, I'm kidding. But we do get to see that Tristan stops himself in midair with wings of his own. He summons all four wings. It's like, let's put the demon down. Let me wrestle with this a little bit. Hold on. Woosa, no slaughter. Woosa. Alright. Now you listen here. You told me something. That this town's festival, where prayers are offered for those lost in the holy war to find peace, was a wonderful custom. And then we get to see that Tristan, as he's saying this, is healing up. Presumably only with his goddess half, though. And notably, I am personally in the camp that I believe the goddess clan just has better healing than the demon clan. To be fair, we don't see that many goddesses, and the main one we get to follow is in a human vessel, so they don't get full advantage of goddess biology and healing. But, like, Tarmiel literally got bisected and just slapped himself back together. You know, we did realistically see them get both Tarmiel and Saria, when they were in human vessels, when they had their graces active, get literally sliced the ribbons and just casually reform. Like, these guys are monsters when it comes to their regen. So I understand why Tristan's going with that, but at the same time, it would have been cool to see him heal with, like, half goddess, half demon. Like, the side of his face that had the demon eye was healing up with darkness, sort of eating away at the damage, and the goddess side of the healing was doing what the goddess side of the healing does and taking away the damage. I do think, ultimately, it would be a little bit complicated, which is why I understand why Nakaba didn't do it, but at the same time, it would have been neat to see, especially considering Tristan was in his hybrid form when he was getting mollywopped last. And we do get to see that with the fact that he's turning on the light to all of the lights in here, baby. Come on, you just wanna eat it. I'm sorry. But with that being the case, he turns on the lights and Io shields her eyes. And Tristan's like, you said that because you feel the same as we do, correct? Humans, giants, fairies, and goddesses were not the only ones hurt by the Holy War 16 years ago. Demons such as you were as well. And that is it's a very interesting point to point out, because notably, the Demon Clan, due to the role they played in a majority of the previous narrative, yeah, they're kind of all monstery. Like, they're humanoid. I think, like, every single demon is humanoid. We never actually saw, except for the Endura, obviously, we never necessarily saw a non-humanoid demon. But still, like, if you saw a red demon walking down the street, say it was just, like, even our size, say you just saw a 6-foot red demon strolling down the street, fully dressed and everything, I think you'd be a little concerned. Same thing with a gray demon. Say they were 7 foot walking around, or 7 foot in the NBA. Well, if they were in the NBA, then I think people wouldn't complain. But still, that'd be a little concerning. If I saw that weird tongue thing that also wasn't very humanoid demon that was, slurping up kids, yeah, I probably wouldn't think of that in a too favorable light either. But all the rest of the fairies and giants and humans and goddesses, yeah, they're all humanoid in like the regular humanoid sense. They just look like humans. So I understand why we would sympathize with them automatically. But Tristan, being a half demon himself, understands that, yeah, the demon clan were people too. Like, sure, they were doing a whole ton of damage, but they were doing it because if they didn't, they would probably die. Like, heck, it's even explained that Chandler and Cusack have an absolute order on some of them, which means it's very likely that if they were to disobey orders, they would literally just get their neck, and then bada bing, bada boom, they're gone. And even if you think a neck snap wouldn't take them, I'm pretty sure the absolute order would find a way to take out a demon. So I don't even blame Tristan for pointing this out, because it makes sense. There were so many people, so many demons that lost their lives for the sake of a cause that they probably didn't even really believe in. They just followed it because they were told to by their deity and the deity servants. So I like this. I like the angle. Once again, I am more and more agreeing with Nakaba that, yeah, you don't need to read Seven Deadly Sins. There's no necessary context. Everything that you need from Seven Deadly Sins gets reiterated within Four Knights. There's nothing overly complicated that you need explicit Seven Deadly Sins knowledge to read. But at the same time, I do think you could get a lot more out of Four Knights by reading Seven Deadly Sins. But that's the case with, like, any prequel, right? Like, that's a spoiler, so I won't. But there are prequels out there where typically it helps add context to the sequel series. Though, ironically enough, my brain went straight to the Star Wars prequels, but the Star Wars prequels came out after the original trilogy. So they do add context to the original trilogy and make them better in certain ways. But still, it's not the same with Four Knights, which Seven Deadly Sins is its prequel that came out first as its own story. So it's a little bit different. However, we do get to see that with Io not wanting to accept the fact that, yeah, demons are people too. She lunges in with a and Tristan's like, let me level with you real quick. I was suppressed. Let you get your anger out a little bit. But I refuse to be body bagged anymore. And he proceeds to grab this thing that was holding him in place with all of Io's slobber knockers and just casually tear it. Like, notably, he hit it with the torch and his blade before, but it did not break. Tristan straight grabs it, tears it apart, and Io, once again, with the wombo combo. Like, admittedly, I think if humans could fly, fights would be a lot more interesting. Like, the weird movements you could do if you could fly. Very, very cool. But Io just taking pure advantage of it. She's kicking with the right, punching with the left, swinging and slobber knocking the best she can. But notably, you see Tristan isn't even budging. Like, she's kicking and hitting and swinging, but nothing's happening. And like a bolt of light, Tristan's like, yo, I don't know who you thought you were or what you think you are, but listen well. You are nothing compared to me, and you shall understand that. And he buries his fist so deep in her guts, I know some of y'all are jealous. And she proceeds to nearly spit it up, which I know some of y'all would probably eat. Do I assume the worst of y'all? I can't necessarily do that, because I know some of y'all are good people. I've seen the comments. Some of y'all have self-restraint. But at the same time, I've also seen some of your other comments. And some of y'all... I'll admit, though, I'm not going to say y'all just like me, because I could not. Y'all are better than... I guess better than me on that front. But still... Y'all are something else. However, we do get to see the reason this drastic power increase happened is because he's let out a little bit more of the darkness. He says, enough of this, as Io spits up and is holding her stomach from the pain of that punch. I know y'all are freaking and geeking over this angle. Is this the thumbnail? What is the thumbnail exactly? Oh, that could be the thumbnail. Nah, that's the thumbnail. That's a little bit too heat. To not be the thumbnail. Usually I try to make the thumbnails before I record the video so I can reference the thumbnails, but sometimes we do it out of order, just have a little bit of fun. And we see the demon mark has slightly progressed out of him. Not all the way, it isn't to the full degree that the original was. It doesn't even take up a major section of his forehead. But now, we do have multiple stages of demon mark for Tristan. That's a little bit wild. Like, and this is only partial demon. Like, Tristan really does have, like, 27 forms. Like, by the end of the series, Tristan's going to have, like, at least 15. Because he already has, like, 8. He has 8. I think now it's 9 with this like partial demon mark hybrid form. Like what? I mean, I'm not complaining. It looks really heat. I like the way the mark is slowly starting to come down. I like how his face is a lot more tightened up. He's likely fighting his own demonic urges right now, twitching and itching like that. But still, I don't know. I'm very excited. I'm intrigued to see how far he can go, specifically with the darkness. Because notably, unfortunately, unlike demonic powers, there don't seem to be many variations to the goddess eyes. You mainly have to do external things like wings and stuff like that to show the different levels of power a goddess is at. Like when we see Elizabeth, when she's in her goddess body, the extra wings pop out, her full power pops out, not when her triskelion get bigger, but when like the extra wings just appear when she uses Let There Be Light. So unfortunately you don't get the same like instant facial signifier like you do with Demon Mark, but you know, it's cool to differentiate the two. And we do get to see that with Tristan being like, yo, I hope you got all your good hits and your good licks in, but that's it, we're done here, enough of this. But we see Io is, she determined. She definitely about that as she lunges in with the, blah! And we see that Tristan is like, I swear you fools never learn. And I'll admit, it was metal. It was metal. And like, obviously, Lance is still Himothy. But Tristan's getting a few Himothy moments under his belt too. Because before Io can reach him, someone count this. Before Io can reach him, he puts his hand on both of his blades and immediately hits her with a cross slash. Like straight up, blah! Tears her wide open. Tears her guts wide open. I know y'all want to. I know, I've seen I read the poll comments. I've seen the polls. Yeah, some of y'all, I see y'all. Y'all are fiending. But regardless, we do get to see that he didn't actually like do too much damage to her. Notably, he did draw his blades, and I really like the designs of Esteros and Mael. The one wing and the dark other blade. I like it. I really like it. Once again, it actually kind of looks like a chaos sword, just because of the goofy head on it. But still, really, really cool. And notably, he immediately dropped right back into base. Like there's no hesitation, bro. Went from like probably not his strongest level of power. He probably needs full DM, but still a high level of power to immediate base. Like, bro, stop going into base unless it takes a lot of energy for you to. Well, maybe he can't go full demon marker to stay even in a hybrid form for too long, because it will wake the demon up, know what I'm saying? Especially with all the magic sensory ability shut down, it's very likely that Lance couldn't even come stop him before he did a whole ton of damage. So, you know, I can respect the hustle. However, we do get to see that with this hustle being established, he was like, I'm going to take all of your lives. That was my order for coming here. That human king you call Arthur, my companions were taken hostage. He told me if I tried to escape, their heads would roll right away. Your companions? No, mine. Now, I don't know, let me reread this. I put too much emphasis on the voice. What did she say here? My companions were taken hostage. He told me that if I tried to escape, then heads would roll right away. Your companions? No, mine. Okay. I guess it's the phrasing that's a little bit weird. Because there's an S on heads, so you wouldn't think it would refer to the singular, but it does refer to the singular. So she's referring to her own head despite saying it. Okay, that makes sense. Interesting. I wonder, well, we'll get into it in a little bit. However, we do get to see that Galen's family must have been busy, dog. This is another one of Galen's nephews. Or nieces? I don't know. But this is another one of Galen's. We had Pump. We have this guy. Like, legitimately. Galen has so many, like, I get it. He's old. He has a lot of ties and connections, but golly gee willikers, fam. Like, how busy? And notably, nephews and nieces. Where are Galen's brothers? Sisters? Where are they? Like, it's to the point where I even mentioned them in the What If Elizabeth Betrayed the Goddess Clan. Go check that out, please. Those videos took a lot of effort, but they're getting like no views at all. Like I expected those to do half decent, but golly, you Willikers fan, please check it out. But with that being the case, we do get to see this squad of demons. And it's Eo's head who would roll by her own friends, the brainwashed companions. And we get the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5 Knights of Black instead of the 6 Knights of Black. And notably, these designs are kind of fire. Notably, I was just talking earlier on in the chapter how a lot of the demons are humanoid. Yeah, we have 2 new non-humanoid demons. And like, I'm not even sure if you want to count Galen's nephew as humanoid. I heard these guys were in the game. Like, they're in the 7 Deadly Sins mobile game. That's neat. It's cool that Nakaba made these designs, or presumably Nakaba made the designs and put them in here, or he just stole the designs. Either one. It's nice. You know, I like a little cross-game, not necessarily continuity. I don't believe the game is canon. I don't believe so. I don't think so. So the game probably isn't canon, but still, it's cool to see the characters being here and being used from the game. They're really cool designs. I like seeing them in the manga. And I'll admit, if I had to rank them, I think the little weird spider dude, he's got to be at the bottom. I just don't. He seems a little bit ugly. And then we have, I mean, he's nice, he's neat and all, but he's kind of generic. The guy with the blade of some sort. He's cool. He has like a scar on his chest and stuff like that. But his head, I don't know. It's just a regular humanoid dude. He may be related to Calmadios though. He looks very similar to Calmadios, except Calmadios had 4 arms. So who knows? Maybe not. Then the mask. The mask is kind of neat. Don't get me wrong. Like, I like the idea of just a floating mask being its own creature. Like, we know Grey Road was literally just a floating mass of mini-men, which is still so weird to think about. But it was a floating mass of dark mini-men. So a dark demonic mask being entirely possible, entirely feasible, yeah, I can see it. I can buy it. Then I'm torn. I really like Galen's nephew's design. I like how it has like the one solid arm and then the multiple spear floating arms and the disjointed hand and the sharp teeth. But I think just due to how much I don't like the head, like it kind of reminds me of Meliodas too much. I'm gonna have to put him at number 2. His design is just too intricate and too well detailed for it to be any lower. And then obviously number 1 is gonna be the deer guy. I don't know. He looks really, really cool. I bet even though this one tiny guy in the front is the leader and Galen's nephew is the biggest, I'm assuming he's going to be the secret powerhouse, or at least the Hacksman. He looks really, really cool. I'm excited to see them in action. And notably, we do have 5, but only 4 knights. So presumably, the 4 knight sidekicks are going to be fighting one of them. Watch them struggle against the little mini hand guy. However, with that being the case, we see that Tristan's like, wait a second, what the heck? Good lord. Why didn't you tell me that sooner? Like, you could have just told me this instead of just randomly trying to jump me, get in my... Well, let me stop. But why? And we see that Eo's like, it's not like I'm afraid to get slain by my own friends. I would be. Let me think. I could not beat my friend group. I remember seeing like a question one time. If all your friend group turned against you, could you win? No. He is 6'7" and 320 pounds. We couldn't beat him. If we all turned against him, we couldn't beat him. He is a linebacker. On a good day. Like, legitimately, no, we could not win. I could definitely not win. Take him out? I probably still couldn't win. There's a guy who's my exact same size. Like, literally, the only difference is that he's more muscular than me. He goes to the gym more consistently than I do. So that's like, he's even stronger than me. And we're like the same height. He could probably take me out in a 1v1. So no. I couldn't. So shoutouts to Io for having absolutely no fear of her friends. Especially when her friends are like Titanic. Like Brody is huge. I get it. You have two small guys, a big guy, and 2 medium-sized guys. But still. However, we do get to see that it's not the fear of her friends. She's more so worried for their lives. Like, straight up, whether or not it's now, tomorrow, or 10 years down the line, Arthur's going to get rid of them eventually. They're brainwashed servants in the same way that the commandments were. Arthur couldn't care less if they went. And we do get to see that Eo's like, I honestly just wanted to see. I wanted to at least try. If, hypothetically, I could defeat you so-called Knights of Prophecy, if you were weak enough to be slain by me, did you really pose a threat to King Arthur? And like, Io, what sense does that make? 1, you aren't brainwashed. Presumably, you are completely free of Camelot's control. 2, why would you make Arthur's job easier? Why would you not just align with them to try and save your friend? I don't get this, Io. What was the real plan? Like, what if you did succeed? I don't know. Seems pretty stupid. However, we do get to see that Io probably came here hoping to slay them, expecting that, they were the Knights of Destruction, Knights of Prophecy, of insane, different levels of monstrosity, but Tristan was just extremely kind. She even says, You even tried to understand the feelings of us demons. Prince Tristan, I entrust everything to you. Please defeat Arthur. And, I mean, maybe. But, a couple things here. Number one, how did she not get controlled? Like, presumably, was she just not with her friends that day? Like, have you ever been in an apartment? This is going to be for the older people. But have you ever been in an apartment with your friends and then, like, you leave out real quick, or, like, you just wake up late and suddenly everyone else is gone and it's just you and they went out and got mind controlled or something like that? Like, how did you not get mind controlled? Maybe it has something to do with her magic jamming ability. Like, maybe it's not just sensory magic, but she could actually, like, jam certain magics, like mental hallucinations and stuff like that, or whatever Arthur does to control people. I don't know. Interesting. I wonder why she wasn't controlled. Maybe Arthur just viewed her as too weak, which may be a testament to how powerful the others are. And it is nice to see Tristan, you know, being praised as this really nice dude, this really cool cat, if you will, and being really entrusted. The first, like, non-Leonis person, the first real, when I think about it, non-human person to come with Tristan or come to Tristan and really be honest and be like, yo, please, for the sake of not just humanity, not just for the sake of the world, but for every single realm, please defeat King Arthur. I like that. I like that a lot. And we do get to see that Tristan puts his blades away and is like, hey, well, being real with you, I'm half demon myself. Which doesn't make sense. Actually, it does. I already went over this. It does make sense. Because, like, he could just have goddess soul properties, which is so weird. Like, it's strange to think about that. But Elizabeth, human. Tristan, half human, half demon with goddess soul. Interesting. That's such an interesting biological combination. However, we do get to see that, yeah, he's like, well, I'm half demon myself. The Holy War's over. Now it's time for all the races to come together and battle the forces of chaos. I need that. I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that right now. Nakaba, put it on the table. Put it on the table. Give the giant something to do. Please, Nakaba, give the giant something to do. Put it on the table. However, we do get to see that even with this declaration and Tristan's obvious display of power, Io's still not sure. She's like, but my companions are skilled. If I leave town, they won't just slay me, but all of you too. And Tristan's like, yeah, okay. I mean, not one to brag or anything like that. You know, I ain't really being braggadocious or anything, but let me love with you real quick. You know, let me tell you a little fun fact. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll work out. I'm sure it'll work out. Because, your friends ain't the only ones who have high skills. My own comrade skills are very first rate. And admittedly, dog, please, Nakaba, give Lance just wings. Let him grow wings or something. Let him learn how to fly. I'm sorry. It would be so, like, the panel where it says, my comrade's own skills are first rate. It would have been so much harder if it was just, like, regular Lance pulling up, or even a Lance with wings or something like that. Like, chunk of Lance, Chance over here. I'm sorry. I just couldn't take it seriously. However, we do get to see that this group of demons was in fact, he could be related to what's his name. Now that I look at it, I thought this guy was deer-esque, but he does look kind of deer-esque, but he has a mane, so he could be related to that one from the first movie, Prisoners of the Sky. He looks like he could be related to that guy. Maybe all these guys are references that I don't get. Like, maybe the mask is a reference to Grey Road, the one dude's reference to Calmadios, obviously Galen's nephew. Then you have a reference to the lion dude. The only one I can't place is the little spider guy. But that could be a reference to the Chimera Endura, the one that had multiple spider legs and heads anyway. So who knows? We could see. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that Lance and Gawain are pulling up. What a gathering. Who's your appointment with? And I'll admit, I'm excited. Especially considering it's Lance, right? Like, even if Gawain doesn't have access to Sunshine, presumably, who knows? We still don't understand how Sunshine is incorporated or mutated with her. She's going to be fighting in base. Interesting. You know Lance can handle it. Like, I do not think these guys are going to be Lance level. If they are, that'd be a little bit bonkers. I wouldn't complain, though. I'd love to see him struggle. However, we do get to see that Tristan explains further. He's like, well, not only are my friend's skills top of the line, but you got to remember, they're knights of prophecy like me, right? They can't be beaten that easily. And Nakaba, man, with your comedic timing, dog, like the moment Tristan says that, we cut over to Donny, Percival, Nasiens, as they're holding Percival's, not living body. Like, his eyes are really whited out and everything. However, we do get to see, as they're cheering and crying for him to come back, Mini Percy pops out. And then a couple Mini Percys pop out. They're like, oh, shoot. Gotta res him, and they res him. Notably, he opens his eyes back up. He's like, oh, wow. Whew. Golly gee willikers. I saw Grandpa in the capital of the dead. That was concerning. But we're back, though. And we're back. How you doing, everybody? And we see that Nasiens and Donny are like, oh, Percival, you're back. And chion starts to turn around like, wait, I'm sorry, what? And we do get to see that Percival's like, huh. The last thing I remember, he grabbed me by my head, and then I heard boss music start playing for about 2 seconds, and then suddenly it went dark. Oh, weird. And we do get to see that Nasi's like, oh, sweet mother of mercy, thank the Lord, you lost all traces of life. Don't do that again or else. And we do get to see Percival's like, what about the bald bearded guy? Like, where did he go? And Donny's like, well, you see. I whooped his behind and sent him packing. And to be fair, he's not entirely wrong. He didn't whoop his behind, really, but he did send him packing, like, straight through him. Like, that's the thing. You would not want me with telekinesis, because I probably would be throwing people. Well, no, I wouldn't throw people. That'd be bad, but I would throw a lot of things. Like, hey, catch! It would be a mountain. But regardless, we do get to see. It's so weird. Like, I mean, it makes sense. But when chion says,
where on the Lord's green earth did you find a human who survives getting his neck bone snapped?
And Percival the Chad, bro. Percival the Chad. He's like, here? He just points to himself as the mini Percys are just like, yeah, we're him. Suck it, Kyle.
They're like, I don't know what magic you have, but once you perish, magic doesn't vanish. Or no, Pencil read that wrong because he's illiterate. I don't know what kind of magic you have, but once a caster ceases the living, doesn't his magic power cease the living with him?
And to be fair, I don't blame him for that. It kind of makes you think about it. It's like an off-brand infinity. Like, if Merlin were to perish, her magic would be just fine. Like, it wouldn't go anywhere, presumably. But interesting, now that I think about it. However, we do get to see that Donny brings up the point that, well, when you think about it, when he got his heart, put through, his magic power activated just fine anyway. And Nasi's like, yeah, you're right. It's pretty sure, in fact, I'm darn near 100% positive that he was gone back then. And Percy kind of just hops up and is like, I don't really care. I was gone then, but am I gone now? That's a yesterday problem. Percy, you were slain like 2 seconds ago. That's a 2 seconds ago problem then. Probably now 3. And we do get to see that chion is like, that doesn't explain anything. What do you mean? And Donny's like, dude, let me level with you real quick. Our friend was alive. One of the 4 Knights of Prophecy is alive. And we're all alive. And we're in the 7 Deadly Sins world. You keep asking questions, and you may just perish. So let's just be happy about it. And, of course, you can never be happy for long, because suddenly, Anteniac comes strolling up. Interesting how the magic dispels. I wonder, does Jade's magic, probably does, but does Jade's magic have a limited range on it? Or do you just dispel it once they had gotten away? I wonder. Because we do get to see Anteniac walks up with her armies of critters and creatures. She's even has a lizard. I like it. Lizard gang, lizard gang, lizard gang. And we do get to see Anteniac's like, you did well to get away from Doctor Strange. He's run off to Arkham City, but you can't escape me. And chion, of all, now admittedly, once again, I still run from bees. I am a terrified individual, mainly because I can't tell the difference between a bee and a wasp. Like, my eyesight's really bad. So, like, I will just flat out avoid them in general. If I hear buzzing, I'm gone. And admittedly, if I were to ever wake up and there was a tarantula right next to me, I'm burning down the entire house. But, like, chion, you need to get some more important and rational fears, dog. Donny, you too. You guys have run up on some of the most vile, despicable, and dangerous creatures this side of the Mississippi. And it's really bugs and lizards that get you. Like, once again, I'll admit, for some reason, I blame thousands of years of evolution. Probably more than, like, millions of years of evolution for me being wary of bugs. Lizards, though, lizards are cool. I love lizards. I remember I forget what country I was in, but I specifically remember there was an iguana sitting behind a bench. I think it was an iguana. And they were like, oh yeah, you can pet the iguanas, by the way. So I literally squatted down. I was like, iguana, iguana, iguana. And it looked at me like, dog, you ain't got no fear? I had no fear. I love lizards. And snakes, I'll admit, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to worry whether you're venomous or not. No, I'm just going to run. I'm going to run and hope you're not fast enough to catch me. And if we're in an enclosed space, I will do everything in my power to make sure that you do not do anything to me. So I can't necessarily knock the snakes and bugs, but still, remember, Chion pulled up with the intent to slaughter the four Knights of the Apocalypse, the Knights of Prophecy destined to destroy the world. Chion did that with no fear. Donny ran up on, after being scared admittedly, but ran up on Ironside, a knight that literally was boxing the entire crew with no fear after he had fear. Come on, you guys, get better fears. However, we do get to see that nasiens immediately recognizes that each one of them is a dangerous creature. So that means our enemy wasn't alone. Crazy to think about. I guess all these things could be venomous. Or poisonous if someone's going to eat them. Interesting. And with this being the case, we do get to see that they realize that Anteniac is a Knight of Chaos too. Interesting that Percy doesn't recognize her, but presumably he didn't get that long of a look, and he probably was not looking at her face. Let's be real. However, we do get to see that, speaking of Percy, he's like, oh wow, there's so many weird animals. What voice is that? Golly gee willikers, Sonic. That is not Sonic. I can't do Tails' voice. Where I've done that voice before too. I've been having, like, the thing is, when I do a bulk recording in large sessions, I typically switch a lot between voices, and I try to remember where certain voices come from, because no, it isn't that either. So still, Percy's actual voice. Wow, there's so many weird animals here. Why is he hitting the rotation jutsu like that? Like, he's trying to hit the 64 bombs real quick. He was like, yeah, so many weird animals. Like, what if he starts breakdancing? I don't know why. I love Percy. And we see that Donnie's like, are you stupid? What formal education did he have, Donnie? What formal education did you have? Was there even public schools? I don't think there were public schools back here. Don't knock Percy's hustle. However, we do get to see that Antonius like, go slay them all. And like, what if any of them actually had any slaughtering intent? Like, all Nasiens really needs to do is let out some bug spray. Presumably, one of his poisons can take care of some bugs. Come on now, dog. However, we do get to see that as the bugs approach, bugs, birds, bees alike. I'm loving it. I love this dynamic. I'm so sad that we're going to separate now. Like, I really want to see more of this dynamic. But Chion and Donny literally hug each other. They're like, come no closer, no! I love those two. So and like, Chion keeps flip-flopping back and forth between like whether or not I like him as a character or whether I find him annoying. But him interacting with Donny, he's been just so good. And we do get to see that for some reason, as the bugs and every creature approaches, they stop just before. And we see that Anteniac's actually confused. She's like, what the heck? The animals stopped in their tracks. What the heck is going on? And we see that Percival is like, oh, Donny, Chion. And they're like, huh? As he leans down to pick something up. See, it's not scary at all. Now, that looks like I don't think it's a spider because it doesn't have 8 legs. But, oh wait, I think it does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably a 7, 8. Probably somewhere. Counting with pencil. However, like, Percy. No, if Percy were to do that to me, I would McDuff him. I would Ironside him. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I like nature. I think it's so cool. I love to travel. I even have encountered my fair share of creatures and critters of all sizes, varieties, colors, shapes, and sizes. But if one of my homies were to ever do this to me, pick up a bug the size of their own head and put it in front of my face to the point where it's reaching out trying to touch me, I think I would awaken my latent Kryptonian genetics and proceed to laser vision them. The bug, not my friend. I still want my friend. But the bug vaporized. I would become a Super Saiyan, Kryptonian, goddess, demon, angel, whatever. Confusion of all the most powerful creatures in fiction ever. To get rid of that creature. Because golly gee willikers. Gosh darn it, Percy. However, we do get to see as Chion and Donny scream their lungs out. And Anteniac is like, don't you mess with me! Can't you hear a word I say? And Nasiens Legoat, my boy. My God, did he pop Cerados or something? Or is bro just that much faster than before? He straight blitzes Anteniac. He straight does her so dirty. Enchant Belladonna. And Belladonna? I'm presuming double L's in Spanish is Bea. Or L, or it's a Y. Two L's become a Y. Especially remember that when learning Spanish. But still, he blitzes the life out of her. One of the coldest panels of Nasien. And she immediately drops from Enchant Belladonna. And we do get to see. And she's like, why my orders didn't work? And notably, we see the mini Percys aren't necessarily going away. In fact, one pops out of Percy and leaves them behind as Percy goes to congratulate Nasiens and tells them the fact that Nasiens is in fact the goat. And Nasien's like, sorry. And we see the mini Percy comes down and tells Anteniac why the creatures disobeyed her orders. And notably, this is getting a little bit concerning because the mini Percys are now producing mini Percys. They aren't just originating from Percy himself. That's a bit scary. They're becoming more and more sentient. Lord help. But we do get to see that it says, they're smarter than humans. The reason they ignore your orders is simple. They want to live. What the heck? And the chapter ends. Teniac. Oh, it's not Anteniac, it's just Teniac? Huh. I've been saying her name wrong this entire time. But Teniac has been conquered. With Percival arrived, they breathe a sigh of relief. Contrary to its squishy appearance, it hides a profound food for thought. Continued in chapter 98, Impending Seizure of Life. And, alright. Every single knight gets a medal moment in this chapter. So this chapter is an easy 12 out of 10. Like, one, obviously, you have the main opener where you get to see Tristan. I'm kidding. The main opener is not Tristan. We get to see Gawain and Lance in his fairy form, posted up in the heavens, flying over the town. Really, really like that. We obviously get to see Tristan just flexing his own might and power, casually healing off all the damage Io did, and then proceeding to absolutely annihilate her with just a fraction of his power. Not even a full DM. He literally casually two shots her and blitzes her easily. Love that. I love seeing the new designs of these next antagonists. One thing I was a little bit worried about with Four Knights of the Apocalypse in general was that we weren't going to get many like non-human antagonists, which makes sense. We had a lot of non-human antagonists last time, but still I thought, getting human after human after human would be a bit boring. Not only did we get the Chaos Commandments, but now we're getting these Chaos Demons here. I like that. I like seeing the effects that Arthur's having on not just the human world, but on all the different worlds and all the different species. I like seeing that. We saw with the fairy, that was Merlin, and now we're seeing with these creatures here, these demons of all different shapes, sizes, and varieties. I like that. I like that Nakaba is bringing in designs from the mobile game. I'm not sure if Nakaba designed them himself or the mobile game designed them first or the mobile game team. Regardless, it's cool to see these designs in the manga. Obviously, getting Tristan hyping up his gang was nice. I love the respect that he has for him. And seeing Lance and Gawain pull up like that. They know it's about that time. It's about the business. They're about to give them the work. I love seeing that. And obviously, seeing Percy come back is nice. He's not the spare Percy. He's not what 81% of us wanted, but still, Percy being back is great. I love Percy. Percy's cool. Seeing Anteniac get absolutely blitzed and body bagged by Nasiens was so unbelievably goated. Love the enchant Belladonna into instant GG. If this is revealed to be base Nasiens, which it seems to be, Nasiens doesn't seem to be in any sort of amp state. That's crazy. Blitzing a Chaos Knight and one-shotting them. He just like me. FR. And then, obviously, the final big bad thing. And the mini Percy's explaining that, yeah, the creatures, they radiate death, I suppose. Like, they're able to ward off other living creatures that are being magically controlled by somebody else. Literally being able to override the magic of another through sheer fear of death. That is crazy. I really like that. It really goes to show you how powerful and potent these things are and how scary Percy is and how he really is the Knight of Death. Like, to creatures that have like a subconscious understanding of it, a subconscious fear that we humans seem to not have too much, they know they were smarter than humans. They knew that if they came towards Percy, they would perish, which is crazy to think about. It goes to show you that Percival may, well, I won't. I'll make a video on that. I won't go too in depth here, but overall, really solid chapter. Also, the characterization in this chapter is really cool. Seeing the duo of Gawain and stuff like that, Gawain and Lance, really cool. Seeing Tristan and Io have a regular conversation, really cool. Seeing Chion and Donny interact, really nice character interactions. And nasiens being goated is great. Am I still concerned for the mini Percies? Yeah, they're fundamentally terrifying to me, but in the best way possible. However, that's what I think. Please what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys also for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure the little notifications bell to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a page down below. It's over as low as $1 non-month. And exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Algo the Pencil, writing off.